Stand by, Christina.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us here at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. Today, we are pleased to bring you our Undercard press conference for Saturday night's spectacular pay-per-view event. It's going down exclusively on ESPN Plus pay-per-view from the Michelob Ultra Arena right here at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. Saturday, November 20th, promoted by Top Rank Boxing and TGB Promotions. Tickets are sold out. We are super excited about that. So catch them on the secondary market if you can, or buy the pay-per-view on ESPN Plus Saturday night. Our undercards get started at 3 p.m. live on the ESPN app, so free on the ESPN app. Those undercards include Carlos Valderas taking on Julio Cortez, and the pro debut of U.S. Olympian Tiger Johnson. I'm Christina Poncher. Thank you again for joining us here with Bob, Aram, and Bob. Before we talk to the guys with the people, Carlos Valderas back again for his second pro fight under my banner, and another U.S. Olympian we signed, Tiger Johnson. Your thoughts on the early undercard guys, particularly Carlos and Tiger?
Well, Valderas was a member of the United States Olympic team coming out of Rio, and of course, unfortunately for him, he went with the wrong promotional company that didn't know what they were doing. So now he's signed with Top Rank, and we think the sky is the limit for Valderas. He's a terrific talent. And as far as Tiger Johnson is concerned, as you know, there were 5 U.S. Olympians in boxing for Tokyo, and Top Rank has signed all 5. Tiger is a tremendous prospect, and he's certainly worth watching as he starts his professional career.
And what a great place for him to start too, on a pay-per-view card here at Mandalay Bay. You and I were just talking a minute ago. I mean, how good is it to be back here at this beautiful hotel and at Michelob Ultra Arena, where you kind of helped with the whole like redesign concept in the arena?
Well, when they built this hotel many, many years ago, the people who were building it brought me in for a consultation, and I told them, don't make it too large, make it so that every seat is a great, great seat to watch the fight, and that's what they did, and I think it's 11,700, all of which will be sold for this fight. And of course, if I had known that, whatever, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, I would have told them to make it a little bigger.
Well, look, you guys get there early. I believe doors open just prior to the first fight, about 30 minutes before 2:30 on Saturday, to see those early undercard fights that will be on ESPN's app. Now, starting on ESPN2, we have a doubleheader that will also be streamed on ESPN Plus. That's starting at 4 p.m. Pacific time, just prior to the start of the pay-per-view. That doubleheader on ESPN2 features a rematch between Adam Lopez and Adon Ochoa, and also Isaac Dogray taking on Christopher Diaz for the NABF featherweight title. So we're going to talk to these guys in just a minute, but Bob, when we talk about putting cards on free television on ESPN2 before the pay-per-view portion, I mean, either one of these 2 fights could steal the show come Saturday night.
Well, they probably will, and you know, and the reason we do that is we offer the public 2 great fights for free, and hope that they get so excited about boxing that they buy the pay-per-view on ESPN Plus, which follows those fights.
Yeah, so great appetizer with these 2 before we get to the pay-per-view. And let's talk to those fighters now. Opening up that portion on ESPN2, is a rematch from earlier on both of these guys' professional career. Adon Ochoa to my left, all the way down, and Adam Lopez on my right. Start with you, Adon. 12-2, 5-0. The fight against Adam Lopez earlier in your career, back when you guys were just fighting 4-rounders, but have you thought about that loss, and is that kind of something that you've been wanting to kind of get back, if you will, since then?
Yeah, it's always been on my mind. Since that first loss, it's always been on my mind. It's something personal, it's something I want to get back, and I'm not the same fighter I was 4 years ago. I just turned 19 years old, now I'm a grown man. I was transitioning into the professional style, and now I feel like I'm ready for this.
When you say it's personal, is it strictly because it was a loss, or is there something that you've seen in him that makes you want it that much more?
Nah, it's not no animosity between us. It's just because of the loss. I need to get that back. So it's gonna stay in the back of my mind. I gotta get it back.
How do you get that done come Saturday night? What can the fans expect from you on this big platform, ESPN2?
You can expect fireworks. I'm gonna push it through. I'm gonna go straight at it. I'm gonna do what I gotta do to win. I'm gonna find a way to win.
Family, friends, not a far drive from LA, from Southern California. You expect a lot of support in the building on Saturday?
Oh yeah, of course. Of course, everybody's gonna be watching from home. Los Angeles, Compton, all over Southern California.
All right, Compton will be in the building. That is Adon Ochoa. He is taking on Adam Lopez, who also trains out of Southern California. Adam, 15-3 with 6 KOs. I mean, your thoughts, you did meet him earlier on in your career. I'm sure you've kind of moved on past that, but when it came back to you that they're getting ready to run this back, what were your initial thoughts?
I've actually had interviews before asking if I'd ever give him a rematch, and I told them, of course, I mean, if our paths cross, we're not going to turn down no fight. If it makes sense, let's make it happen. I mean, the kid's tough. I got to give it to him. When we first fought, he's a very tough competitor. He had no quitters. So, you know, he got some wins on his record. He got 12 wins, 2 losses. That's a winning record to me, and it makes sense, so why not? I'm down to fight anybody.
Yeah, you've never turned down anybody, whether it be last minute or not. How much do you feel like the recent experiences, maybe starting from the Valdez fight on, have made you a better fighter today?
I got pushed up to the top quick with that Valdez fight. You know, I went from a nobody to, okay, Adam Lopez is a featherweight contender. And I held my own against some of the best in the world. One right here sitting right next to me. You know, I've been at the top level, and people know, they know my name, they know I can fight. And I mean, like I said, same place, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know I can fight. I bring it every time, there's no quitting. So it's gonna be a tough fight for sure.
I know that you're focused on Adon Ochoa and the task at hand, but you did bring up the man to your left. A lot of people do feel like you won that first fight, or it could have been a draw. Your thoughts on possibly, I know you've been quite vocal about wanting to get that rematch as well.
For sure, that's definitely a rematch I feel like I deserve. I feel like not to be disrespectful, but I feel like he should be fighting me Saturday night. You're a great fighter, but I definitely feel like he should be fighting me Saturday. He shouldn't be fighting nobody else. But it is what it is. This is boxing. It's a business. And we got to go through it. So he wins Saturday. I want that rematch, and we're gonna see it down the line.
Boss is sitting right next to me. He wants the rematch against Dogway if he wins on Saturday night. That was a close, entertaining fight the first time around.
Isaac has his hands full with somebody else on Saturday, and then we'll see.
Yeah, and that man just said, yep, right here on my left. All right, Adam, we'll keep the show moving along. I'm sure you'll fight, and then you'll be possibly back sitting ringside to watch these two mix it up.
Oh, definitely. I'm going to keep my eyes closed on that one.
I'm sure you will. It's going down on ESPN2. On to Chris Diaz and Isaac Dogway. That fight, you talked about a fight that could steal the show. I don't think either one of these guys know how not to be an entertaining, exciting fight. Chris, I'll start with you, even if you've done this many a times. 26-3 now with 16 KOs, coming off the loss to Mandalay Bay. What did you take away from that experience?
I mean, it was a great fight. I pushed through every round to the last one. I went down 3 times. I get up like a warrior, like I am. Now, like I said, I was the strongest man in baseball to this day, and I believe it. Every time I hit him, I feel it. But, you know, the best man win. You know, we win. My hometown too. But you know, it's sport boxing. I used to get 2 weeks off after the fight. get back to the gym, and they offered me a double, and I said, let's get it. I'm here to fight the best. I never dubbed nobody, and they told me one time, you go to 130 and fight Quito? Sure. If you're gonna go 126 and fight Shawn Stevenson? Yes. If you're gonna fight Navarrete now? Yes. Send me the offer. We accepted it. They sent me the offer with Dope. I'm here, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a tough fight.
Well, that's why you continue to get opportunities like this, because when the calls come, that's when you say yes. And every time that next level or those big fights come, albeit a great fight, you come up a little bit short. What is it going to take for you to kind of get over that hump? Do you kind of feel like this is maybe the last opportunity to maybe make that run towards a world title?
I mean, being such a great warrior, bringing the best at the table, he's going to bring me a lot of opportunities. I know Dope is tough, but being put on the line, I think I'm tough on him. It's going to be a great fight on Saturday. He shows to the people that he got a lot of mistakes, and I'm going to take care of it on Saturday.
How do you do that? How do you capitalize on that?
If I told you that, you wouldn't know.
Don't give away any secrets, right? You and the team.
I respect that way. He's a great fighter. I worked for this all my life to be here with the best. He's a former world champion, and his business, like I said, we're going to be there outside the channel the ring, and the best man's going to win.
Boxing is better for guys like Christopher Diaz that answer the call, weight division, regardless, steps up to the plate. I mean, he's the type of fighter.
Before the triple star, I told about Adam, after this fight, if it come good, I might go down to 122 and fight Colin.
Okay.
You want to fight the big names? I told you, I don't feel nobody. I don't know if they protecting Colin, but
he's talking about Michael Conlon.
And Badufo is an example of what boxing should be. That a loss is not a death sentence. So many fighters pass up a fight because they're afraid to take a loss. That's crazy. The best teams lose in football. The best teams lose in basketball. And yet persevere and can win a title. Isaac is the same way. He lost a couple of fights to Navarrete, but it hasn't dissuaded him from continuing on. A loss is not a death sentence. Some of the greatest fighters in history have taken losses and come back and risen to new high levels.
And with that, Isaac, Bob mentioned the two losses coming to Navarrete. How have those losses made you a better fighter and you continue to get opportunities like this, albeit at 122 or 126?
I mean, first and foremost, I thank the Lord for bringing us here. It's a beautiful day, coming back to your question. And thank you for the kind words also, Adam. The loss in Navarrete, I believe that it was just a matter of time for me to see things clearly, and also for me to start paving my own way. It really broadened my knowledge about the sports of boxing and everything around me. It took me to places where I didn't think I was gonna go, and having to meet my new team. That's Barry Hunter and Patrice Harris. It had always been that, you put it in front of me, you knock them up, so you keep on, running through them. But a time came, they had to, my new team had to really, make me understand that boxing isn't really all about knockouts. You have to box, it's a thinking man's game, I entered the ring, it was just, all hearts, all gas and no brakes, just wanted to knock people out. But now I'm starting to think a little bit more. I'm starting to enjoy the boxing a little bit more and enjoy the atmosphere and everything that comes with it. So I don't see it as a loss, I see it as an experience, which I took out of it.
You have good energy, you're always smiling. We're a day before a weigh-in at 126, and you seem quite happy. So is 122 still possibly in your future? Because you seem to be comfortable now at 126, but I was hearing rumors that you might be also, perhaps after this fight, going back to 22.
Well, like I said, now we are putting together a new team, and thanks to Top Rank, Bob and Carl, and all the other people involved. Like I said, putting together a new team, my new nutritionist, perfect and athletes. These are the people I'm working with right now. And listen, now I eat and drink on the day of weighing, which is crazy because I fix myself usually before, like let's say a week, 5 week, I'll be looking at the schedule.
No, that's why I asked you. You're like a whole different man sitting here to my right now. So I'm like.
So now it's very different. I feel very comfortable. I'm able to sleep well, to eat well, hydrate well, and I feel great.
Shout out to Perfecting Athletes.
Yes,
They
ma'am.
do a fantastic job. Now you're going to need all of that because this man right here to my left, I know you're familiar with him.
I know, look, Chris Diaz is a tough guy. And please tell him to stop following me.
To stop following you?
Stop following me.
Are you just popping up everywhere where he is?
Listen, I was in Florida, right? And we had a couple weeks in Florida. And then the gym I was training at, I found out that this guy came to the same gym. I'm like, yo, if you want it, we can have it here before we go to the main room.
Yeah, we went to spar somebody downstairs, and that was like, Danny Hunter is gonna be here in a few minutes in Vegas in Dope. I said, yeah, fight Dope.
Oh, the fight had already been made at that time?
Yeah. The fight was ready, had already.
He said, well, he's coming? Yeah, in like 15 minutes gonna be here. I said, bro, I didn't see me sparring, so I gotta go. So I went to the gym to spar and then get back to Orlando.
So, lastly, I think you got the memo. I think it'll be done after Saturday, right? What's it going to take to overcome a fighter like this who's also fought at the world championship level, been a contender many times, he's always brings an entertaining style. What's it going to take to get the job done and possibly get one more crack at a world title?
Well, we've really sat down to analyze him carefully. We know the sort of things that he does very well. And we know he's an energetic fighter. I will lay it all out right now. I know he's gonna come out, throwing overheads and uppercuts and all those things. We know that. It's okay. We've studied most of his fights and seen a lot of things that he does really well. And like my coach always tells me, Isaac, take the time. Take the time, just relax, enjoy the moment. So that's what we're gonna do. And at the end of the day, we're going to give the fans a great and an entertaining fight. Because that's what they're all here for. Christmas is around the corner. The fireworks, they're beginning.
All right, well, enjoy the moment. The fans will be enjoying the moment when they tune in on ESPN2 starting at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Our doubleheader being brought to you on ESPN2 and ESPN Plus just prior to the pay-per-view. So we're going to pose the fighters off now, and then we will resume with the pay-per-view portion of the undercard. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Always a pleasure. Appreciate you all.
Thank you,
Thank you, Don. Thank
Thank
you so much. Just come right up here, Guardy. We'll have you guys face off. undercard portion, Christina Poncher and Bob Arum here. And Bob, before we get to talking to these guys, we have the WBO Global and WBC Continental America's middleweight title fight between Janibek and Hassan Endam. We have the IBF title eliminator, and then Raymond Murataya opening up the pay-per-view. So just your thoughts on this undercard we put together on our pay-per-view portion.
Well, it's a terrific undercard, and any one of the fights could be a main event. Raymond Murataya is an example of what you can do when you have a network like ESPN, which gives a promoter continuity. Because Raymond was way, way, way down on the undercards when he first started. But one fight after another, Brad Goodman kept putting him in tougher and tougher fights, and he kept excelling every fight that he was in, and he's only gotten better, and he's still undefeated, and I'm very proud of how well he's done. A terrific young man, and going to be really a very well-known fighter. The Falcoa-Volny fight is for all the marbles. I mean, these guys are fighting to become the IBF mandatory in the middleweight division, and the winner will face the winner of the fight that will take place in Japan late in December between Triple G, Golovkin, and Murata from Japan. So there's a lot at stake in that fight. And also, Janibek fight with the Dam is a very important fight because the winner will be in a mandatory position in the WBO middleweight division. I've watched the Dam fight a couple of times in Japan. One fight he won, one fight he lost, but he's a terrific fighter. But as far as Janibek is concerned, I remember, I guess it's a few years ago, my wife and I were invited by the boxing people in Kazakhstan to Kazakhstan, and they were escorting me through the National Museum, not a sports museum, not a boxing museum, but a national museum, and there was all pictures, bric-a-brac regarding the career of Triple G, who, as you know, is from Kazakhstan. And one of the boxing guys told me, as good as Triple G is, this kid, Janibek, with his last name, which is unpronounceable, is going to be better. So I took that with a grain of salt, but a number of months later, his new manager, Igis Klimas, a good friend of mine, brought him to see me, and we started promoting him. And so far, so good. He's looked absolutely spectacular. So I'm looking forward to all of these three fights on the undercard to the showdown between Porter and Crawford.
Now, Raymond, I'll start with you. You're opening up the pay-per-view. When you hear Bob Arum, Hall of Famer, has been around the game for really, really long time, before you and I were born, you hear him say these comments about you. How does that make you feel?
It means a lot, for me, for him to recognize that, it's really a good feeling. But I feel like I've been putting in the work, so I think that's really showing, and he's seeing that, so it feels good.
We thought we were going to see you on that Valdez undercard where you originally scheduled, but you tested positive for COVID. How has your recovery been from that? We've had some guys after fight say it was a little bit more difficult than they thought. How has your preparation been since the last couple months dealing with that?
Yeah, it was definitely more difficult than I thought. I came back, I went for like a jog, and you definitely feel like your breathing is a little different. But you know, I just kept training, just kept running, and you know, it comes back. So my training has been good.
Speaking of your training, you're with one of the best, and that's Robert Garcia and the Robert Garcia Boxing Academy. Iron sharpens iron in that gym in every corner where you look. How is just working there and training with them, and of course your father and your brother made you a better fighter to this point? I mean, 12-0 with 10 knockouts.
Yeah, that gym, and there's a lot of good talent there. You're always just learning. There's just a lot of different fighters. You're just sparring a lot of different styles. So you just continue just to learn.
Did you think at just 12 professional fights that you'd be fighting on a pay-per-view?
No, this is definitely happening sooner than I thought.
Dream come true for you? As you kind of check things, obviously you'd like to headline a pay-per-view, but as you go along the path, are things going, let me ask you that then, are things going along the path that you envision for yourself in your career?
Yeah, I feel like I'm just putting in the work, and it's just showing that good things are coming, so yeah, I just can't wait for what the future has for me.
Lastly, what can the fans expect from you? I mean, you've been in the bubble, knocking guys out. Everyone's kind of seen you on ESPN, ESPN Plus. Now on pay-per-view, bigger stage. What can the fans watching worldwide expect from Raymond Murataya?
Just a good fight, you know. I feel like I'm different than a lot of fighters. I have a lot of skills, and I think I'm a show that on Saturday night.
And last-minute opponent switch. I know I said last question, but you were preparing for Steven Ortiz, and then you're going to fight Elias Arrojo. Any quick study on him?
Yeah, I know. He's an aggressive fighter. Nothing I haven't seen before. I'm prepared for anything, so I'll be good.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you open up the show on Saturday night. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to move on to the second fight, as Bob mentioned. This one for the WBO Global and WBC Continental America's middleweight title. The first of the two middleweight fights on the undercard. Hassan, I'll start with you. Nice to see you. You look very sharp today. Thanks for dressing up. I feel a little underdressed for the occasion now. But look, big stage, right? Big opportunity for you. What does this mean to you to be back here in the spotlight, fighting on arguably, one of the biggest fights of the year?
First of all, I want to thank God a lot to bring me here today, face of all of you. And I want to thank my team who take care of me, to training, to be ready. I want to thank my partner who helped me to have a good preparation. Thank Bob Baron for this opportunity, for this fight. I want to thank my opponent who tell me to the social media, who remember to me to the social media to be ready for the fight. Do you think I'm not ready? Baby, look at me. I'm ready, baby. I'm ready to face you. Saturday. You have too many energy to lose to the wrong place. Saturday night, I'm going to respond to you in the ring, baby. Be ready. I think you're ready. So we have to be two to do the good fight. So I hope you're ready.
Right, let me translate that to Kaza. So basically, no, I'm just kidding. We'll leave that to Buddy McGirt. But Hassan, let me ask you, at this point in your career, you get a phone call to take on somebody like this, who is an Olympian, who's been knocking guys out, maybe looking at you as a gatekeeper. What made you so, yes, I'm going to take this fight, I'm ready for it, no question?
When they proposed me this fight, I picked it directly, straight away, because he's a world champion, amateur boxer. He's a good level fighter, So it means it's going to be a good fight for me. It's going to be a good opportunity for me. If I won this fight, like I know, I'm going to push to the another world championship. So that's why I picked this fight, because it's some opportunity for me.
And I'd imagine middleweight is more of a natural weight class for you, right, than fighting up at 168?
Yeah, I feel good. I feel good in middleweight class. Super middleweight was an opportunity that I picked, but my very well weight class is middleweight.
Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Merci.
Merci. That's all I got for you. All right, over here to Janibek, who we're going to work through some translators. Buddy's speaking some Kazakh now, right, Buddy?
Yeah.
All right. So buddy, that fight for Janabek against Rob Brandt, what do you feel like, or what did he feel like that proved to everybody with that spectacular performance?
I believe he proved that he's ready for anybody in the top 5 in the world, any world champion.
Janabek, what do you think?
Bu жерге biz boks әлемінде Қазақстан стайлында тарихта алғаш рет. Бұл жерде Мексикан стайл сияқты бізде өз өнерімізді бұл жақта көрсетіп тарихта қалғымыз келеді. Және де 200 салмақ бойынша әлем чемпионы болғымыз келеді. Қазір сол мақсатта жұмыс істеп жатырмыз.
Got that, buddy?
Okay, he said, I'm here to show the world Kazakhstan. He wants to put Kazakhstan on the map in boxing, not like all the other stars. And his goal is now to be a 1 division world champion. He wants to be a 4 division world champion.
A 4 division world champion. Well, how close does he feel like he is right now to a world title shot at middleweight?
He thinks he should have got a shot yesterday.
All right. Right? That's how we can
Biz әр жекпе-жекке 100% дайын болып келеміз. Бұл біздің былай айтқанда чемпиондық титулдарға деген қадамымыз. Біздің команда мен бұйырса сенбі күні жақсы шоу көрсетеміз.
He says that he prepared 100% for each fight, and he doesn't want to fight former world champions. He wants to fight present world champions.
How does he get one step closer to that on Saturday?
Сондықтан да бұл жекпе-жек біз үшін бұйырса ең жеңіл жекпе-жек болады.
He said that he's a former champion, he's a good champion, but it's easy work for him, and that he's ready to show the world Saturday night.
Right, he's saying easy work. We will see come Saturday night. That's why you need to buy that pay-per-view on ESPN+. Thank you guys so much. Thank you both. As we move now to the co-main event, Esquiva Falcao and Patrice Boney. Patrice, undefeated 16-0 with 10 knockouts, but hasn't been exposed much to the U.S. audience. This will be not only your U.S. debut, but your debut outside of your native Canada. What can the American fans expect from you on Saturday night?
First of all, I want to say thank you to Bob, thank you to my team, thank you to everyone today. So, what to expect from Canada?
Yeah, from people that haven't had a chance to really see you work.
Yeah, that's true. Nobody really sees me from the outside because I've been fighting in Canada, Toronto, Montreal most of the time. But I'm ready. I'm ready to fight. So I'm ready to fight. So there's nothing can stop me now. At this level, we're ready. We've been working a lot. And we're at the stage today in Vegas. We can't believe, like I can say, we're here today. So we make something big. And for sure, if we got a box, we got a box. If we got to fight, we got to fight. And we're ready for everything.
So you can do both. You would describe yourself as as a boxer puncher first, more of an aggressive fighter.
We'll see.
Whatever you got to do to
Exactly.
get the job done. Well, what you did do is come to Las Vegas early.
Yeah.
Did some work in at Split T Boxing, correct?
Yes.
What has that experience been like for you these past couple?
It's a good experience, you know. It's my first time. I went to California the first time. It's been a couple of years before to train, and now with Vegas, so it's the big city, the boxing city. So we learned a lot from each boxer, everybody around, and I think it's only positive for me, only positive on my side to be able to box here, learn more about people experience too, and we don't have to adapt, so that's why we come that early. So it's pretty good.
Makes sense, right? And this is the IBF middleweight title eliminator. Bob mentioned what's on the line.
Yeah.
Should you win this fight? Obviously, big smile from you there. What's it going to take against an experienced fighter,
Yeah.
Steven Falcao, to get that opportunity, to get past him and get a world title shot? I know it's a dream of yours.
Yes, it's a big opportunity.
Yeah.
I had a few opportunities in the past, but COVID happened, everything happened, so everything went a little bit down. But hey, like you said, opportunity don't happen every day. So when you got them, you got to take them, and that's what we're here for. We've been working a long time. We've been working for many years because that's what boxers working for those opportunities. So be ready. We know he's a good boxer, everything, but we ain't scared of nothing.
All right, Patrice, thank you for being here. We're looking forward to seeing you work.
Yeah,
Bob?
see,
Yeah.
And I just want to say this whole card will be shown on pay-per-view in Canada in the usual way by people having the opportunity to buy it on the Bell cable system, Rogers cable system throughout Canada. They will make it available to everybody in Canada. In the United States, it will be exclusively on ESPN Plus, but in Canada, it's on pay-per-view in the usual way.
That'll make
Don't forget French.
And in French too, right?
That's amazing. We can see
Yeah,
Canada.
absolutely. Worldwide audience we're expecting for this fight card, and I'm sure in Brazil, people will be tuning into as we go to the man on my right, Steven Falcao. 28-0, 20 knockouts. I feel like we've been doing this for a very long time. Guardy, do you have a mic? Or oh, okay. How are you? Nice to see you.
Fine, thank you.
Here we go. 12-round fight, co-main event, pay-per-view card. How excited are you for this opportunity to finally get in a title eliminator, one step closer to your dream?
Como main event, invitação principal, como é que você está se sentindo por essa luta?
Primeiramente, quero agradecer a Top Rank por essa oportunidade e eu estou muito feliz e pode ter certeza que eu estou vindo muito bem preparado para dar o melhor combate da noite.
I want to first of all thank you, Top Rank, thank you, Bob Arum, for this opportunity. And you can be sure that I'm very well prepared and I will bring the win to Brazil.
What has your preparation been like with Robert at the Robert Garcia Boxing Academy? Who have you been sparring, and what has your preparation been like for this title eliminator?
Como tem sido o seu treino, sua preparação, seus sparring com o Robert?
Usei os melhores treinadores, melhores atletas, né, e melhores sparrings, porque eu sei que é uma luta muito importante para mim e eu vou fazer história. O treinamento foi bastante reforçado, um treinamento bastante duro, que agora eu estou pronto para a guerra.
I had one of the best training in the world, the best sparring, the best seconds and everything. I training hard, I sparring hard, and now you bring the title to Brazil.
After your last fight, I would imagine you looked at Bob and Bruce Trampler and Brad Goodman, and you went like this, right? Meaning you're ready to get that belt. What is it going to take on Saturday night to walk away with that?
Na última luta, ela viu você depois da luta mostrando pro Bob, pro Bruce e pro Brad que você queria a luta pelo título. E agora, o que você tem em mente?
Eu treinei muito para essa luta. Minha luta anterior foi contra o Russo, bastante duro, onde tinha perdido para os campeões do mundo por ponto. Eu acabei nocauteando no quarto assalto. Eu falei, chegou minha oportunidade, eu quero conquistar e agora eu estou pronto. Eu acho que essa luta vai me levar até o título e vai ter ninguém que vai me tirar ela. Então pode ter certeza que eu vou chegar indo do ringue como um leão. Eu estou aqui como um leão e vou lá conseguir a vitória.
My last fight was against the Russian, was a very tough opponent. He never been knocked out. He fought for a world title, and I threw him out in the fourth. So I'm prepared. Nobody will take this opportunity from me. I want the title shot, and I will get it.
He's confident he's going to get a world title shot, Bob. You mentioned him fighting a mandatory for the winner of Murata and Triple G. That's kind of what you thought, and that was hopefully the path for him all along, right? Was trying to make that rematch from the Olympians. Obviously, Murata has a tough test against Triple G, but either guy, that's a makeable fight for.
The winners of each of these fights will be mandatory for different organizations, and each of them will have a crack at the world title. So there's no reason to believe that there will be any hesitation by these organizations. They follow through on their commitments. So I would anticipate that the winners of each of these two fights will be fighting for a world title, and then maybe Christmas of 2022 or earlier, we'll have a unification fight where they can fight each other, the winners, because I think they would have a great chance of becoming champion, and then they would look forward, because they're warriors, to unifying the titles.
Right. Well, as we see in our main event, I mean, when the mandatories and everything works out, everybody works together, great fights can be made. And great fights will be brought to you on Saturday night from the Michelob Ultra Arena right here at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, and live exclusively on ESPN Plus pay-per-view in the United States. Early undercard starting at 3 p.m. Pacific time, streaming on the ESPN app. Then the two TV fights on ESPN2 and ESPN Plus starting at 4, and then our pay-per-view will start at 6 p.m. local time. I think we've covered it all, right, Bob?
Certainly have.
Absolutely. Let's go. We're going to pose you guys off for some photos now, and we'll see you all tomorrow at the weigh-ins. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. I'm Christina Poncha for Bob Arum and Top Rank. We'll see you at the weigh-ins tomorrow.
Just wait for my cameraman.
Tell
As soon as
him,
he's here,
you could do the private meetings remotely and fly in Saturday morning. Then
Okay. I'll talk to him.
trying to help him. Not that you need the money.
What's up, Jamel?
My man.
Thank you, man. All right, FightHype.com. We're the Fight in Marine, my man, Jamel Herring. Man, I remember we got your breakdown a couple weeks back. It was a great breakdown. But how you feeling now that Fight Week's here Saturday night, Crawford?
It's gonna be a good fight. I'm still feeling the same way. Like I said, I got a lot of love for this team, both individuals. Sean's a good friend of mine. Terence is my brother, of course. But Shawn Porter is never in a boring fight, and I stick with that. I think he's motivated for it. I think they're both motivated for this fight. I'm looking forward to it.
You know, Terence, the last time he was really up on his legs was the horn fight, the postal fight. Lately, he's been sluggish. Do you think that's what we see Saturday or more the boxing?
I think it's the everybody, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Because you know, with Shawn, you can only move but so much before, you know, he makes you, you know, bite down and fight with him at times. I mean, we've seen it with Keith Thurman. When Keith fought Shawn, Keith was trying to box, but you know, there was at times in the fights where, you know, him and Shawn had to go toe to toe. So I think we're going to see a bit of everything. I think we're going to see some boxing from Shawn as well, though, because Shawn can box as well. So I mean, it's going to be a good fight, and I think the styles collide really well.
Did you get a chance to be around Terence in his preparation for this fight?
Oh yeah. I was before I had my own fight with Shakur, so I was around Terence a lot. When I was finishing on my camp, he was basically starting his camp at the time. So, you know, I've been seeing him work. You know, he's been doing a lot. He was doing a lot of great work then. He was strong already then. This is like a month ago, and I know, you know, I've been checking in with him and things like that. So I know he's been doing everything he has to do, you know, and I'm prepared for this fight because it's one of the biggest fights in the welterweight division.
Jamel, talk to us about the two camps. These are two camps that are known for Spartan-like training.
Right.
So it's basically hard training versus hard training. What do you think will be the difference in the bout?
I think, you know, it's all about the will, you know, who wants it more. Because they both have the heart of the champion. You know, they both know what's on the line, and they both are fighting for legacy. And like I said, you know, Shawn he's the type of fighter that's just here to be here or here for the paycheck. You know, Shawn wants to stamp his name in history, and Bud wants to also make, you know, his name well known in the division. Because, you know, we all know it's no secret he's been criticized for his competition, whatever. And right now, this is the biggest name on paper, at least in the welterweight division. So I think, you know, it all comes down to who's going to bring their A game and keep that same, you know, mindset from start to finish.
You mentioned Will, his skills, they're on Crawford's side, would you say? Or
I mean, yeah, Bud has a lot of different dynamics, but like I said, you know, Shawn's a dog. You know, if you slack just a bit, you know, he can take the fight out of you. But yeah, of course, you know, Bud has the skill, the edge in skill, because he can, you know, he can box, he's a switch hitter. He can brawl. You know, he has power on both hands. So, you know, yeah.
Is it a good idea to come directly at Terence Crawford? It looks like, for all intents and purposes, that's what we might get early in the fight.
I mean, that's just Shawn, man. That's just Shawn. You know, Shawn, he's gonna test your heart. He's gonna test, you know, he's gonna test your mind, your you know, your mental strength and things of that nature. So, you know, I think Shawn, like I say, don't be surprised if he comes out boxing, but it's gonna be times where, you know, he's next gear. He goes to the Shawn Porter that we all know and love.
Talk to us about the counter punching of Terence Crawford and how that may make a difference in the bout.
Man, that's good. But, you know, he definitely, man, he's sharp. And like I said, he countered you with one shot, and that could be it right there, or it could change the whole fight around.
Talked about one shot. How much power does Bud have in his right hand?
I mean, listen, when I'm sparring Bud, I'll tell you like this, man. Like, there's times I got hit with both hands. I'm like, yo, what are you? Are you right-handed or left-handed? Because I'm like, it feels equally. It feels equally in both hands. So I'm like, yo, I don't. He's like, no, I'm naturally, you know, right-handed. But like, you see him fight southpaw a lot, so you thinking, you know, he's a lefty. But that's how strong he is in both hands.
Is he a little better as a southpaw though?
I think he has a bit of in both. You know, like I think he's more comfortable now over the years being a southpaw, but if he wants to fight orthodox, you know, he can do that just as well also.
Now talk about this ability to adjust during fights.
How do you expect Crawford to handle the aggressiveness of Shawn Porter?
I think he handled it well. I think he will. You know, I think, you know, we all know they all say there are times Bud may start slow, but once he starts picking up his rhythm and finding his range, he'll start picking them slowly as the rounds go on.
Going a little bit more about his analytical skills there. Like he kind of like goes the first few rounds with his opponent, and then either he'll just like back down on his mouthpiece and just go right at his opponent, or he'll just kind of like switch it up like he did in his last couple fights.
What was it? With the meme machine fight. Then when he fought him, he's having little issues in terms of finding his timing when he was boxing. But then after a while, he had to just click down, like you said, on his mouthpiece and go at him and take him out like a dog. So that's just if plan A doesn't work, you have to go to plan B, and so on. So but like Bud, he's a smart fighter. He knows to make the proper adjustments when necessary. And we have a great team.
Does that mean
Bud stop him?
I think Bud can stop anybody. I'm not gonna. And I love Shawn. Shawn has nothing to stop, but I think Bud, like I said again, because he has so many tools and power in each hand that I believe he can stop anybody that's put in. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if he does that, it's a statement. Yeah, it's a statement. It's a statement. But like I said, you know what I mean. And what's going on, Carmen? Ready?
Jamel, man, what do you think of this Canelo moving up to fight Makabu?
I'm not mad at it. I seen. Get a lot of heat. Don't get me wrong. We all want to see him fight and so on. I'm not mad at that, but I think right now, Canelo's just shooting for his legacy while he's still in his prime. So he's trying to collect as many. I think he said he'll be the first Mexican to be a five division world. So let him go do that. I don't think he's gonna stay at cruiserweight. It's a one shot and done. It's a one shot and done.
You
and
ever see
coming back
Makabu
down.
fight?
Yeah, I seen him fight.
What do you think?
He's a good fighter. But like I said, it's hard to root against Canelo. I don't like Canelo can go fight Usyk, and I'm still gonna root for Canelo. You know what I mean?
You think it's one of those like right time and right opponent kind of thing? Like.
Yeah, I think his team is smart. They're not, like I said, man. Canelo isn't stupid, man. Like even I feel like even with the Golovkin fights, they caught Golovkin at the right time. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that they waited for him to degress, but they don't say when it was on their time and the timing was right for them. Canelo went for the Golovkin and he did what he did there. And I feel like it's the same way going to cruiserweight. There's a method to the madness, pretty much. I don't think they're just doing it just to be doing it. You know what I mean? Of course, you want to create your own legacy and make history, but it's all about timing.
It's gonna be like Roy and Ruiz.
Oh yeah, definitely. Something like that.
I know Tim Bradley said that it's kind of like a cherry pick for Canelo to go up there and grab that belt. I know you don't really want to say that type of stuff.
Hey, Tim is Tim.
Do you kind of feel like that same way?
I mean, like I said, man, like this is this point where Canelo he can pick whoever he wants to fight. You know what I mean? So you can call it a cherry pick or whatever, but like I said, he's at the end of the day, he's still going against another world champion. It's up to that man to prove everyone wrong that Canelo made a big mistake. But yeah, you can call it whatever you want to call it, but it is what it is. I mean, people going to tune in regardless.
Who to your eyes is the best fighter?
You want to see him with the better beer. Those guys, if he's going to go up in weight again or whatever. But like I said, I wouldn't mind seeing him fight the Boo Boos, the Charlos, and there's a lot of good fights he could make. But like I said, when you're the man, hey, we didn't say much when TBE was doing it. So like I don't have no issue.
They did have a lot to say.
I mean, they did, but Floyd did what he wanted to do. Floyd was his own boss. He's his own boss. Then goes to Canelo. Canelo's not thinking about no one else but what he was right for him, and he gonna do what he do.
Why do you think people aren't saying, like you said, people got a lot to say, because there's a lot of fights for him to make at 68 and 75. Well, why do you feel like they're not saying, let's fight each other? Because, Canelo became champion and became undisputed in 11 months.
If I'm from a fighter standpoint, I think there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of good reasons. For one, starters, if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man.
Right.
Two, he's bringing the money. My man Caleb just got paid, real well. You know what I mean? So of course, like I said, boxing, we're prize fighters first. So of course, like even Floyd said it, he's going for the prize, and then we're going for whatever afterwards. So there's a lot of reasons why these guys, because you got to think about it. Fighters today, we all see, it's not even just with Canelo's weight class. You see it with the lightweight divisions and so on. Fighters today, they feel like if you take a big of a risk fighting this top fighter or whatever, it's gonna knock their value down if they don't come out on top. So instead, some fighters they'd rather just
Protect their own.
and get that big fight, and then whatever happens there, okay, well I take an L, whatever. But in the end, the risk is worth the reward. You know, exactly. You're set. So like even like my man, I know my man Caleb will be back, but if he wanted to walk away, he's cool.
He can.
You know, he's cool. So like he took a big risk. It didn't pay off, but at the end of the day, he could take. Yeah, it did pay off. He could take care of his family. You know what I mean? So. A lot of these guys,
You did good your last fight too.
Hey, listen, I'm fighting anybody. Y'all should know that by now. Like for me, I mean, I'm not. I love, me. Like when I see my man Dan Rayfield in the back, like I have that old like mentality. Like I grew up watching film of the guys in the '80s and even the '90s and so on. Like so for me, like I love Shakur. I'm like me and Shakur. Like I said right now, we're good. We're on good terms. We speak every other day. But no one else was going to willing to fight him. I didn't have to fight him. I could have been that guy to be like, well, I'm gonna take my WBO token, chip it in, and move up to lightweight, and then see what happens. No, I'm all about cementing my own names. I took the risk. It didn't pay off. Y'all see me. I didn't hide face. I didn't make no excuses. Nope. I didn't come with I had the injuries, whatever. No, I mean, listen. He was just a better man. He had the better. He came with the better game plan, and that's that. That doesn't mean that I can't go on to still fight other great fights and be another big. No, I mean, but a lot of fighters today, they don't think that way. They think once they get knocked over their belt, they're no good to boxing, and that's it. But we gotta start changing that.
What happened if Shakur?
Hold on. Me, I spoke I spoke to Carmen Reddy earlier today, and I have options still at junior lightweight, but they also gave me options also at lightweight. So. I'm good. I'm at peace. I mean, that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. Yeah, of course. Brings value of me getting into becoming either a two-time world champion or a two-division world champion. I'm there, Dan. Like that's just me. So you see me. I don't go home. I don't sit in the basement putting on crazy weight. And no, I mean, I'm happy. I'm good. I congratulate Shakur, and I wish him well. I hope he represents the division well. But like. I just got ranked in the top 5 of the BC at junior lightweight. So if you put me in a title eliminator next, I'm fine with that because, like I said, I still want to fight guys like Oscar Valdez or I want to look at the winner with the IBF championship at junior lightweight or even we see what happens at lightweight. So I'm open for anything. And, like that's why I'm just staying positive, keeping the weight down because. Once I get the date, I'm getting right back into the gym.
How do you think Stevenson would do with Valdez and even Tank Davis?
I think Stevenson, I think Shakur is going to be hard for anybody to beat. Like I said, man, I trained my ass off for that fight. I trained hard. I made no excuses. I trained hard. I know how big of a fight that was going to be, and my best that night just wasn't enough. That's how good he is. Like like he even said it like when I pushed. He pushed, and then so on. And it was like every time I think this guy would slow down, he had an answer for everything. So I think, but I think, like I said, Tank is doing great, man. Tank is hard to beat because he can box. Also, he's more than just a big puncher. He can box. But I think Tank and Shakur
can he box
will be.
Shakur, though?
I think that'll be the fight. That'll be the fight, the top. Lightweight, obviously, because Tank is not coming down, but that'll be the fight in the future. But
who wins out of Shakur and Chris Colbert? I know that they talked a couple days ago about fighting.
I say, man, Chris is a good fighter, but we have yet to see that fight that really makes him stand out. Of course, we know he's talented, but right now, at 130, Shakur's the man.
Thanks, man.
Tank, so to speak. You haven't really.
Victory and 5 defeats in the World Championship. 11 World Championships
What's up, Derek?
6, tune in Saturday night, 3 p.m. Pacific time and 6 o'clock Eastern time. I'll be having my debut.
Awesome. Thanks, champ.
For sure, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I wish you the best, man.
Thank you.
You got the 11 song, so I can't even be mad at you, coming out.
Fire, bro.
You can hit on the 11s, right? Yeah, the classic, so you're coming out real good.
My bad.
Stay right here. As soon as Bob's done, we'll get you a picture with the boss man.
Legendary promoter Bob Arrow once again out here in Las Vegas.
How's it going, Evan?
Let's get straight into it because I know Q will fall very short. Crawford Porter, brilliant work. What are you expecting to see on Saturday night between you?
You know, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know how that fight's going to unveil. Porter fights one way. He pulls you. He gives you no room. He tries to smother you. And he roughs you up. Terence is a wonderful boxer puncher. And the question is, can he resist those bullying tactics to do his fight, do his thing? Because I think he's clearly a more skillful fighter.
I've seen a few people mention they think Terence could stop Shawn on Saturday night. Let's say if that was the case, what statement do you think that would send to the rest of the welterweight division?
Again, let me be honest about it. I don't care what statement it says. Terence Crawford is the best welterweight in the world. Period. End of story. Errol Spence is a hell of a welterweight, but he doesn't compare to Terence. I really believe it. I think in fighting Porter, Terence is fighting.
Get you now? I don't know if I should believe you. I want to believe you. Don't worry about it. Go on your way.
Sorry.
Now, first,
Really a good deal. It's much better than what we're.
Hey, you see you start talking.
man, get it over, man.
Just can't invent the wars. All right, now we're going.
Okay. Oh, I got to say it again. Okay. What's the expecting?
You want to try to get back? Thanks, I'm doing very good.
Every year, these guys fighting every 2 months. That was effective. I don't know. We'll have to see.
I saw Josh Taylor yesterday, and Josh said he's got no interest in not fighting with his TV, but just using his name to build his own. For you, what do you think could be more likely, say, Josh Taylor versus Crawford at 147 after Josh faces Jack Cantrell if he's successful, or still try and push for a TV with Josh fights?
No, I think Josh, I had dinner with him, as you know, last night, and Josh made it plain after Cantrell. He wants to go up to 127 and fight Crawford. Well, if the stars align and Crawford wins, and he will on Saturday. Crawford fight against Josh Taylor will be massive. It took place here in the United States or in the UK.
I'd certainly love to see that in the UK, but a few reports that was not all the WBC convention yesterday. Very vocal, expecting to be so good. Millions got his own arm show that's going on for WBC. So I just wanted to get your take on that entire situation.
I've never really asked that much. What you say? I'm just playing what you said yesterday.
No, why would they order it? they're being sued, and the case is in arbitration.
That's just somebody
They're
asking.
pretty pissed off, the BC is. And Eddie Hearn really doesn't understand the market in the United States, doesn't understand these organizations. No, well, if Joshua says he wants to go right to the Usyk, which he can legally, he has that right. Then Tyson, I talked to him this morning on the phone. We'll fight White if White is reasonable with the price. If he's not, we'll fight Joe Joyce. So again, it's all moving parts. Certainly, before Christmas, it'll all sort itself out.
Just with Tyson, is he actually allowed to still fight then, regardless of what's going on with Billy and the WBC, or does he have to wait to see what happens there?
100%. He told me he wants to fight by the end of February. He was off for so long between Wilder fights. And that's what Frank and I are gonna deliver for him. I think Frank has a hold on that indoor arena in Cardiff.
Canelo Makabu, what do you make of that up at cruiserweight, seeing Canelo move on?
I don't know who this guy is. Never seen him fight. All I have to say is Canelo and Eddie Reynoso are good boxing guys, and they know what they're doing.
And then final one, we saw the reports come out that Joe Smith Jr. will now face Callum Johnson on January 15th. Can you just confirm that? Give me your take on how that fight has now come about.
I confirm it. It takes place in Turning Stone Casino in Verona, New York, and it'll be bombs away.
All right, Bob, I appreciate your time and over cues for me, so thank you.
Tiger.
And then one more clip.
Okay, good to see you. Hey, come on in, man.
Nice to meet you. You know we met in Atlanta.
You're going to have a big career.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. You're gonna see a knockout Saturday.
All right. One step at a time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Take a picture? Somebody take a picture?
Yeah, sure. He wants a picture with me, with his phone.
Oh, no. He'll send it to me. He'll send it to me. He got it. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
One more quick one. Gentleman over here.
How's it going, bud? You're more than welcome to have a seat. No. Appreciate the time as always. So it's Ron Goodall from FightHype.com. I'm here with the legendary Bob Arum. Just kind of wanted to start off the interview by seeing the fact that you have an incredible amount of new talent from the Olympic team, including Tiger right there. And you've been consistent and always signing the next great Olympians and things like that. How are you able to consistently be able to explore the next talents and go from there?
Well, we have a great staff that looks at these people and sees who will make terrific pros. And we start with the Olympians. If a guy represents the United States in the Olympics, going through the amateurs, chances are he will be a good pro. And we check that out, and we all get together. And in this go-around, there were 5 U.S. Olympians because of the way it all worked out. And all of them were top caliber character people and top caliber talent. And we went after all 5, and we were able to sign them all. That's, I think, a great achievement for my people. And I think they're going to have all of them are going to have great careers. And you notice they're all in different weight categories, so there's not guys saying about, I'm going to beat you. They're all hopefully going to root for each other.
And seeing that we're looking at the future now, but right now, currently in the present, if you look at the pound for pound list, it's pretty much full of top ranked fighters. And I'd like to just ask a couple updates on, your amazing stable of fighters. And seeing the first one, I'm sure you've been asked dozens of times about the Tyson Fury and the Dillian White and the WBC situation. Just want to just get your overall thoughts on the...
Well, I think that the WBC did the right thing. That you don't sue in arbitration and expect the organization to make you a mandatory. And after all, it's not that he has an unblemished record, because the last I saw, he got knocked out by Povetkin, right? So that alone probably disqualifies him from being the mandatory. That being said, if Joshua decides to go ahead and do the rematch with Usyk, and it's clearly in Joshua's hand because he has that contract, then Dillian White would be a good opponent for Tyson Fury. Nobody forced Tyson. Will sit down like gentlemen and hope to make the match.
Opposed to letting the WBC do all their things, you would sit and just kind of sit down.
Exactly.
Just like how you've done with the other fights, like the Porter.
Of course.
And seeing that Crawford's fighting a very tough opponent, Shawn Porter. You have an amazing fighting skill with Josh Taylor. If Crawford gets past Porter, is that potentially the future fight?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest fight out there. Because particularly if the fight were in the UK, it would be massive.
And seeing that Teofimo mentioned that he wanted to fight Josh Taylor, would Taylor get the Crawford fight? And
I talked to Taylor, and as of now, Taylor has no interest in fighting Teofimo.
And seeing that Teofimo will be coming back to the top-ranked stable after the match.
Right, and there are plenty of guys. We have loaded with 140-pound guys. Zepeda, Ramirez, Barboza. I mean, there are plenty of 140s that he should fight, because will he carry the weight up that high? You don't go after, you do, but, there's other guys other than the unified champion to go after.
And just the last couple of questions, I've overheard that Crawford may potentially do a fight-by-fight deal in the future with you. That's something you've done in the past with many fighters. Is that something?
We always did it. We never had long-term contract until the last 20 or 25 years. We never had it. I mean, never with Hagler, never with Leonard, never with Tommy. Just fight by fight. And I'm pleased with that. It takes a lot of the pressure off.
And your female fighter, Michaela Mayer, had a tremendous performance against Hamarouche. Alicia Baumgartner recently had a fight and just won against Terry Harper. And obviously, the women's division is, on fire. Would that be a fight that you would get Mayer, since she won on social media and kind of pretty much called out Alicia?
We would love to do that. But again, Eddie Hearn, when he does a fight, like a Harper fight, does the fight and then a rematch. Why? Isn't Baumgartner better off fighting Michaela Mayer rather than doing it again with Harper, who she knocked out? I mean, it seems like it makes no sense. I hate those contracts with a rematch. I mean, it takes away from the sporting aspect of the sport.
And then seeing my final two questions, Lomachenko is coming up and fighting Richard Comey on a great card in New York City. Seeing the fact that the winner of that, would they potentially be lined up for Teofimo Lopez, or who would be?
Well, that would be the fight that should be made. But Teofimo has said that he won't fight Lomachenko again, and you can't make a guy do it. So the fight I would like to do with Teofimo is with Shakur Stevenson.
Oh, really? And is Shakur more likely going to...
I don't know. That's up to them. I haven't talked to Shakur about it. But that would be the fight that I think the public would want to see.
And Oscar fought is more likely fight Navarrete.
Yeah, sure, that's a huge fight, particularly with the Mexican Americans.
And Shakur maybe get the winner of that fight if he doesn't.
We'll see. One step at a time. A lot of good fighters, a lot of good fights that can be made.
And my last question, I appreciate the time. You've been around the sport for so long, seen every amazing thing that pretty much has happened. Canelo's going up to go and fight a cruiserweight. I just wanted to get your thoughts. Is that the right fight for the fans?
I don't know. I never heard of this cruiserweight champion. I never saw him fight. All I'll say is that Eddie Reynoso and Canelo are good boxing guys, and they know what they're doing. Period. I don't know this guy. I never heard of him. I have nothing to add. All I know is, looking at this situation, is Reynoso and Canelo rarely make a mistake.
Awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Evan.
It did not happen in the last fight. This last fight,
you have about 5 more minutes.
Joel Diaz had 2 guys coming over to spar with him. Joel Diaz, a lot of people think that me and him don't even talk. Man, we talk all the time. If I need sparring partners, he sends them. If he needs them, then I send them to him. So we go back and forth when it comes to sparring. Manny Robles also was bringing in one of his guys to spar with Virgil, and plus I also have Espino, who was helping Virgil a lot. So the problem wasn't this fight, but the fight before, when he fought Hooker, we did have problem with sparring because there was a moment where Virgil got sick with COVID. So nobody wanted to spar him. Even though we had our own guys in the gym, the only one that was able to help him was Tanahara, because he was also positive. So they were both positive. So they were sparring each other. And Tanahara is a lightweight, so he's not helping Virgil that well. So we did have the problem in that training camp. But he got
still performed great.
But still performed great against Hooker. So so when they came, they just said they were no longer going to come to me. So I thought they were going to do it on their own. I never thought or felt or heard that they might go to Eddie Reynoso. I don't even think they still have. I really don't know. But that was I just thought.
Is that a good fit?
Why not? Why not? Oh, definitely, bro. Reynoso's on top of the world right now. Look, and not only Reynoso on top of the world, but look at what he's done with Canelo. Ryan Garcia has looked much better. Or Valdez against Bercher. That performance was one of his best performances. So of course it's a good fit, And not only the thing that's going to help him, and I think Virgil's dad is looking into that too, is Reynoso's Mexican. He's got all the Mexican media following him, especially with Canelo, who's the best in the world, and he's Mexican. He's going to have all the Mexican media behind him. Mm-hmm. So Virgil there with him, Virgil's going to get all the Mexican attention to Mexico. Virgil's from the United States. He he doesn't even speak the language, but he is Ortiz. He does have the Mexican, his grandparents, I believe, are from Michoacan. So they're gonna, that's gonna help him a lot, man. All that publicity from Mexico, it sucks that I don't have any, but it was a smart move, honestly. I'm not mad at him, bro. The dad, wants the best for his kid, and he's going after the best.
Robert, what does Virgil bring to the gym? What kind of guy is Virgil inside of the gym? What would he bring to?
Nobody says the opposite. That guy is very dedicated. Well, Virgil's like that, or maybe even more. In my gym, there was nobody. I'm telling you, nobody. And Jose Ramirez trains very hard. But there's nobody.
That's what I was going to ask you.
But there's nobody like Virgil, honestly. Oh yeah, bro. Jose Ramirez trains his ass off every day, but Virgil trains more. Virgil trains harder. Virgil is a hardworking kid, man. That kid works like nobody else. I'm telling you. So
do you think
I think
on him when they're saying Boots is going to be the top dog and not Virgil?
Boots is a fighter,
crazy
speed, talented. He switches. He's got power. But one thing I know that Virgil has, I don't know if Boots has it, but I know because I see it in the gym. Virgil has that heart, that determination to don't. He's never, in his mind, there's nobody that could beat him. So going into a fight, maybe the first half of the fight is going to be difficult, but towards the end, I know Virgil will take over. I know because his heart, his determination, his mentality of never giving up and never losing, that makes a big difference when you're in a tough fight like that. And I think Boots might have all that too, but I don't think he's got it more than Virgil. I know Virgil. That kid is one of a kind.
And just talking about Canelo for a second, man, I overheard you. It was a good interview you were having before we got to you. That one reason he can't connect like Chavez did is he hasn't had that Meldrick Taylor, behind on the cards, bleeding.
Exactly.
Yeah. Could you
That's
expand
exactly
on that,
what's
man?
going on. First of all, I think Travis Suarez said, if Canelo was going to bars and drinking and cheating on his wife and having babies here, then he'd be the fucking idol in Mexico, because that's what Mexicans want to see. We all want to see somebody with 3 different baby mamas and fucking, you know what I mean? That's just the way it is, bro. Exactly. Mexicans are fucking machistas.
He's showing that, though. He is macho.
But that motherfucker, man, he's fucking, and the main thing is he's so fucking dedicated with all the money in the world. He already accomplished. He could retire and never, not one person in his family with grandkids, great grandkids would ever work again in their life, and he still wants more. That's the dedication that it takes. But yeah, that's what, if he would be in tough fights where he gets cut, he gets dropped, gets up and wins, and then they would love him, and that's what they want to see. But you're never going to see that from Canelo.
Don't you think that's the reason that he's getting criticized?
That's
for
why,
potentially
yeah.
moving up to cruiserweight to fight a guy who virtually is unknown in the
Well,
boxing
look,
community.
I said it earlier. Before he moved up, before we got the news that he's moving up to cruiserweight, I wouldn't. And I'm in boxing. If you ask me, I would have never. I could never mention one of the 4 cruiserweight champions. I wouldn't, because Usyk was there and he left. So
Lawrence Okoli?
I have no idea who that is, bro. Honestly, I had no idea who anybody. Nobody. Honestly, I can't mention you one. Now this guy that he's fighting, well, all over the world now because of the news. So he's still challenging himself. If they fight at 200, that's 32 pounds.
It's at 190.
It's at 190. That's what I figured. Yes, 190. It's still 22 pounds more than what Canelo's division is at. So it's still a big risk. Do I think Canelo wins easily? Yes, I think he's going to win easily, but he's going to make history. And then
He's the first Mexican to ever become
there's
a
5 divisions.
You know what? And there's even though maybe the fight's going to be easy, but he's still making history. He could still come back down to 168 and fight Benavidez 2 years from now. Benavidez is young too.
Is that his toughest fight?
I think that's probably the fight that gives Canelo those rounds, where the Mexican fans might be.
Do you have a time frame for that fight? Do you see it coming up?
I think it's probably not to 2023, maybe not
So
next year.
Is that his Meldrick Taylor? Is that Canelo's Meldrick Taylor? Is that
Not that.
Benavidez?
Not that.
You don't think so?
Not
How do you
there.
see that
I
fight
think
playing
it'll be a very good fight for 5 or 6 rounds. I think after that, Canelo starts breaking down Benavidez and stops him. But first 4 or 5 rounds, I think it'll be great, because Benavidez is fast, strong, and he's got heart. He's not afraid of him. So I think he'll give him really good rounds, and that's where the fans will be excited. The fans will see Canelo get hit, maybe get wobbled, maybe get cut. I think Benavidez puts that fight in Canelo, but I think eventually Canelo breaks him down.
What about Big Charlo? Does he have a good shot against
Charlo,
Canelo?
you know what? Charlo, I first want to see Charlo fights. If Charlo and Benavidez were to fight each other, then the winner would definitely earn that fight against Canelo. But Charlo, I would like to see him fight somebody else before that, because I wasn't too impressed in his last fight. The fighter had no business in the ring with Charlo. So exactly.
Yeah.
So I wasn't very pleased there. But Charlo could fight. He's got great skills. But I would like to see him get one solid win
Who
before
would you
that.
like to see him in with?
Well, Benavidez.
Who would win that?
Or what's his name? Even Plant. There you go. Or the guy fighting Friday. What's his name? Nobody mentions his name, but that guy could fight, man. Demetrius Andrade could fight, man. He's a great talented fighter, and that's probably why they don't want to fight him, because he's southpaw, he's awkward, he moves, and they don't want to fight him. But I think he's a very talented guy. Sordo Ramirez also. He's another one that's up there. Or just last week, Munguia. Munguia looked fucking impressive. I was impressed with him. Yeah, his combinations, his punches, he fought really good.
He's
so
a mandatory for Charlo.
I think those fights have to happen. If you're gonna wait, all 6 or 7 of those guys that we just mentioned.
What about Federer? Max Kellerman said he preferred that.
Another one of those big fights. But all the 160s, 168s that we just mentioned right now, they got to fight each other.
Yep. Yeah. Do you think Canelo's kind of sending that message?
Well,
like, I'm out, man. I'm going
yeah,
up. You guys give me a reason to come back.
They got to fight each other. And maybe not all 6 or 8 are going to fucking fight, but at least 2 or 3 have to try it, and then you earn your spot.
So
against
you
Canelo.
want it? So you want like a little tournament?
What do you think of the people that say that Canelo is ducking a Charlo, that he's
not.
ducking a Benavidez?
He's not, but he calls the shots. And if you're gonna be fighting that kid from Mochis, you haven't earned. You're not gonna by beating that guy. You're not gonna earn. To fight me. So nobody knew he was gonna announce that fight against that cruiserweight. Nobody knew. Everybody thought, oh, maybe he will fight Benavidez. He does whatever he wants.
Do you think
he's gonna have them wait?
Do you think the weight cut, like Roy Jones went up and then he went down, that would play a factor?
Well, it's possible, man, because he's gonna, to gain 22 pounds muscle and look solid, and then having to cut him back down, it might be a problem.
What if he doesn't, Robert? Like, what do you think? A lot of people are saying,
I don't think he's gonna come in at 190. I think he'll probably come in like maybe 180.
Yeah.
And it's still a fight. Yeah, as long as he's as long as he's over 175. He could be 176. That's already a cruiserweight. So he might come in at 176. That's already a cruiserweight. Well, he'll be fat. He already is very strong. So I don't think he's gonna. I think it'll probably benefit him. He doesn't want to get too heavy either. I think it'll benefit him if he's died, because that guy won't even touch him.
And Robert, man, just got to get your prediction on Saturday night's main event, man.
And I think it's one of the fights that the welterweight division needed. We've seen Pacquiao and Lugas, but it was Pacquiao's 40-some-year-olds, so it wasn't the fight that we needed. I think these are the fights that we need, and Porter's showing he's coming to Top Rank. He's coming to Crawford's promoter to do that. That's what we need. We need more of that in the welterweight division, because we don't get to see those, man. And even most of the ones that are at with PBC, it's still, we would like to see more of that.
You never saw Spence and Thurman.
Exactly, we would like to see more of that, and I'm happy that Porter was willing to do it. It's gonna be a great fight. I think Crawford is too talented, and at the end he'll pull it out. He'll win the fight by decision, but it's not gonna be easy. I think Porter's gonna give him some really good rounds.
Is there a chance though that he unlike Spence and Thurman, because how crafty he is, he catches Shawn with something he don't see coming and could win by stoppage?
That's what if you ask me, I think he's gonna go the distance, because I know Porter's fucking tough. He's a tough guy, and he's not gonna give up. But Crawford does hit hard. He does have angles. He does have tricks. He throws uppercuts very strong. So if he catches him, he will hurt him. Adrian Broner dropped him. So he's been dropped before. So if Crawford lands, he definitely could.
Crawford, 11 out of his last.
Crawford,
11 out of his last 12 have been won by KO. What would it mean if Crawford was able to KO Porter on Saturday night?
I think he could. And Crawford is probably the best welterweight. When it comes to skills and talent. I think Crawford's probably the most talented of all. He's got power. He switches. He could box you. He could brawl with you. He also takes a good punch. He's been hit, and even though I'd probably say he's probably been dropped. I think Iggy's dropped him. He took him up and stopped him in a few rounds after that. So Crawford's already been tested great, and I think he's probably the most talented out of all. So there's so much in the welterweight division, especially with the young ones coming up, Virgil and Ennis, fuck, man, I can't wait for those.
If you had the game plan for Crawford, what's some of the things you do what do you got to do to beat this guy?
With somebody like Porter who makes fights dirty and ugly, you just got to fight smart. You got to know how to use your angles. You have to know how to, and I'm sure Crawford is very good at it. Use his hands to maybe push him away, hold him down, because he's gonna have to do stuff like that. Maybe step back and counter, because Porter's gonna come right at him. And you don't want what I don't want to see in Crawford is laying the ropes and just let Porter just swing at him, because those rounds could be very close. But sometimes you're forced to be in the ropes, and there's nothing you could do about it because just the styles are going to be so awkward. But I think Crawford is too talented and has really good footwork to allow that to happen.
And lastly, for me, is there any chance? Forget resumes. Is there any chance Crawford is better than Canelo? If just skills.
You know what? That's what I like to when it comes to pound for pound. Right now, it's stupid to say somebody else is better than Canelo, because you just can't.
Right.
Everything he's done and everything he's accomplishing. But when it comes to skills, I love watching skills, man. I love watching Lomachenko. I love watching guys like Crawford who have great skills. There could be a 5 or 6 division world champion, but that doesn't make you pound for pound. To me personally, pound for pound is I like to see skills. I like to see good footwork, good defense. What boxing's all about. So I personally like somebody like Crawford or even like I'm telling you, Lomachenko. Skills wise, I like those two. Those are probably my number 2 and number 3. Because like I said, I can't go above Canelo because he earned it already.
Where's Boots Ennis rank in that area of pure skills? Boots Ennis seems like he's one of the guys that when you watch him, you can see that he has very apparent skills and he likes to turn offense into defense.
I think Boots Ennis just needs 2 or 3 more fights to show that he's up there too. We've seen Showtime. His last fight, very powerful kid, very very good skills, but we still need a little bit more of that. I have like Jesse Rodriguez and Murataya. I can't say they're pound for pound because skills wise, they will be there. I'm telling you, but we're talking 2-3 years from now. I can't say that. So Boots is in this, maybe a little bit ahead of them, but I can't put him in the top pound for pound list because he still needs to earn a little bit more, better wins, more solid fights on headlining, Showtime, headlining his own cards. I think we need to see a little bit more of that. But can he be there or will he be there? Definitely.
Do you think Tank knocks out Isaac Cruz next month?
I think Cruz is probably going to be tougher than Rollies, but I think Tank knocks him out. I do. Cruz is very tough. He's had some really good wins lately, but I don't think he's in that level there.
How long do you see that fight going?
I think you could go if Tank wants to go late in the rounds, he could do that. He could just fight and let it go late. But if he wants to finish it early, he could finish it 3 or 4 rounds.
Hey Robert, I just want to piggyback off his question. Why are you saying that Isaac would be a tougher fight than Rolly?
Because you know what. Rollis is great for boxing because he likes to talk and he's a character, man. His faces that he makes. You can't not like him. I had a fighter against him and I think we clearly got robbed. But you still can't.
About Marinez.
Yeah, you still can't wish him bad. I like the kid. And then I didn't hear it, but my son's the one that told me that he came. Now that they canceled his fight, he said, "Look. This fight was going to give me an opportunity to buy my mother a house, stuff like that, and isn't he supposed to be innocent and proven guilty? So I don't understand why they canceled his fight, honestly. But whatever it is, he's not fighting. So the way he talks, the way he earned that spot. But skills-wise, I don't think he's that great. He's got power,
awkward,
but power and awkward. But if Marinez was able to do what he did, I think Tank is 10 times better than Marinez.
Would have stopped him?
I think so.
What's your thoughts on Porter bringing in Javante for sparring for Crawford? Seeing that you always bring all different types of sparring partners, is that a sensible sparring partner?
I didn't even know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they sparred up in the mountains in Mount Charleston.
And Porter said, he gave him great, sparring,
Yeah, I didn't know that, but yeah, man, can't get any better, man. If you get somebody like Tank coming to spar with you to get ready for a big fight like that, it's great sparring. Can't get any better, man.
But some fans might say he's small.
He is too small, but look, sometimes, you know what?
Punches like a welterweight.
If you with at least my system, if I have a very good fighter that I know, in this case Tank, that I know is gonna give me good work, even though he might be 5 inches smaller, he's still going to give me good work. And sometimes you need to be in great shape, not necessarily just be a similar style that might not help you that much, that might not make you work. They probably brought Tank in to get his condition strong and make him work, because Tank's going to make it work. His style is that style that's going to make it work. So sometimes if I have a fighter fighting a left-hander, but my left-hander sparring partners have the style, but are not going to push my fighter, and I have a right-hander that I know is gonna put my fighter in great shape, I'm also going to use him. Even though it's not the style that I'm looking for, I'm going to use him to get in shape, to get in good condition. Because sometimes styles, just those styles that don't give you that condition that you need in case you get into a tough fight.
Last one for me, Robert.
I was gonna say, was Maidana one of those fighters that you used in camp that you? Push
with like saying if you're getting ready against Maidana, what are you gonna do? Something, you just gotta be in great shape. Maidana, you just gotta have him in great shape. Brandon Rios had to be in great shape. You know what I mean? That's just, they're just stuff that you just have to have those guys in great shape, or else they're not gonna perform.
I would love to know. Obviously you would really know. You think really highly of Crawford. Would you put him on the same level as Floyd? When Floyd was, obviously.
Well, look, Floyd.
I'm not saying better, but would you put him like somewhere?
I'll tell you, at welterweight, both at welterweight, fighting both at welterweight, both in the prime, it wouldn't be easy for Mayweather. It wouldn't be an easy fight for Mayweather. I think Crawford would probably give Mayweather a great fight. Mayweather was tremendous skills. His dedication was also one of those insane dedications that very few fighters have, and that's why he accomplished so much and made it so big. But Crawford's. I think Crawford would give him problems if they were both.
I think the guy to your right might disagree.
Huh? What was that?
Did you put on the same level as Jeff Mayweather?
Yeah, no.
What
would he do that? What would he do that?
It's his camera guy, Robert. It's his camera guy.
Yeah.
Would you really say that? Obviously you're saying that Floyd is better than Crawford. Would you say that their skills are close to being on par, or are you just saying that Floyd is just?
When it comes to skills, especially your defensive skills, you can't beat Mayweather, man. It's tough to even find somebody that's better. Mayweather got hit very little. Mostly stunned him one time. But very, very few times. Maidana gave him a tough fight, but it wasn't like he was hurting him or anything. It was just a difficult, awkward fight. I think Crawford is easier to get hit, but it's still. I would have loved to see something like that.
So pretty much you're saying that none of these welterweights.
I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think so. I maybe the welterweights of the '80s. I think Mayweather wouldn't have fought neither of them. But right now at this time, nobody better than Mayweather.
I guess the fantasy thing, you and Floyd almost had a potential opportunity to have a showdown. Yeah, exactly.
We were both champions at one time, yeah.
Just fun fact, like if you and Floyd, it's a hardcore question for me, but just seeing if you and Floyd were an opportunity.
I think it's so easy to check. Look at what Floyd did to Diego Corrales.
I was just about to say, what about?
And look at what Diego did to me.
Styles make fights, Robert. Styles make fights, Robert.
I'm glad I didn't fight him. I'm glad, I'm here standing in front of you guys. I'm training guys. I'm, doing good as a trainer. Maybe I would have never had a chance to do stuff like that.
Robert, I've always wanted to ask you, take us back to the KO by Diego Corrales. I've heard you mention it, that you went down and you just kind of woke up and the referee was counting. Take us back to what you remember.
Diego hit hard, bro. That fucker had power. Going into the fight, honestly, we didn't, that was his first title, so he wasn't very well-known. We didn't expect that from him, honestly, man. That fucker had power, and to me, now, as we're talking, almost 30 years ago, probably, that since.
I think it's 22.
20-some years, man.
It was 1999, right?
It was 1999, yeah. So losing to somebody like that who went to become a legend, with his fights with Castillo and all those big fights that he had. Yeah. Fuck, I'm not ashamed to say I lost.
Bullshit he's not in the Hall of Fame?
I think he should be.
Yeah.
Well, he will be. I think he will. It just takes time. But to me, I'm not embarrassed to say I lost to him. Shit, I'm I could brag about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
I could brag about it. You know, somebody like Corrales, man, it was awesome. You know, somebody like Joao Casamayor, gold medalist, and you know, shit. You know, I lost to some great fighters
At their peak.
Yeah.
When they're at their best.
Exactly.
Yeah, when I went back a while, I was like, damn, Robert was good.
Bo Mac. You know,
Thank you,
it's a tough sport, man. But you know, one thing, you know, things happen for a reason. One thing leads to another, and you know, now we're here. You know, with some of my fighters on pay-per-view, and you know, I've had fighters headlining pay-per-view. I have, you know, so it's just I'm glad to be where I'm at right now.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you,
I
guys.
think Jeff wants to ask you some questions.
Yeah.
Robert, thanks, brother.
Appreciate it.
You gotta get it. We never had.
My boy. Always good to see you, dog.